All right, thank you all for being here. We appreciate everyone taking your time out of your busy day to be a part of this amazing session that we have lined up for you here. My name is Diana. I'm with Kale, and I'm here to go ahead and introduce our amazing speakers here this afternoon. We have Ms. Crystal Stanford that will be presenting here. We have Emily Jones-Green and Flamika Reed, and they will be speaking on empowering futures, Virginia's community college innovative approach to enhancing credential completion. Just a few things before they get started. I just want everyone to know that this session is being recorded. You'll have access to it 90 days up to 90 days once our conference closes. Also, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to speak directly to the speakers, but if you have any questions, go ahead and post those in the chat and I will get those right over to the speakers. And we'll go ahead and get started. I'll turn this over to Emily. Thank you, ladies, for being here.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Emily Jones-Green with the Virginia's Community College System. And like Diana said, we are going to be talking about our approach to enhancing credential completion. And this is based on one of the grants that we have been working on over the past 18 months. So what we'll be doing is giving you a little bit of the overview of the grant, which is funded by Jobs for the Future and Achieving the Dream, talking about CPL, expanding EAB Navigate, and pathway trainings for healthcare advising. So I will introduce myself and then hand it over to my colleagues so that they can introduce themselves as well. But as I said, I'm Emily Jones-Green, and I'm the coordinator for Credit for Prior Learning with the System Office. So we work with all 23 community colleges within the system. Crystal.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Crystal Stafford, also with the System Office. My title is Holistic Student Support Coordinator, and I oversee strategy and functionality of the EAB Navigate platform and work with all 23 colleges on all things Navigate. Flamika?
Thank you, Crystal. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Flamika Reed, and I serve as the Director of Healthcare Workforce and Community Engagement. With my role, I have the opportunity to work with all 23 community colleges within the state of Virginia, specifically working with all of their healthcare programs. So that includes nursing, allied health, and oral health. Within Virginia Community College Systems, we offer a wide array of healthcare programs, and I have the opportunity to work with our short-term credential programs as well as our academic programs. Additionally, within my role, I partner with many hospitals across the state, along with healthcare organizations, as well as state regulatory boards as well. So thank you.
Thank you very much. So just to give you a little bit of background of how we started working on this grant and what we were doing, the Achieving the Dream and Jobs for the Future asked for the states and participating colleges to look at current policies or practices that really are creating barriers for our adult learners, and how can we actually make meaningful changes that will have a lasting impact for economic mobility for the adult learners. So what we ultimately decided to do in Virginia was really look at our Credit for Prior Learning offerings through our short-term credentials that Flamika just mentioned. Those are called Fast Forward in Virginia, and what we decided to do was look specifically at our healthcare credentials and see how we could standardize the awarding of Credit for Prior Learning and then ultimately scale that up within the state. With that, we also wanted to then look at how we could utilize technology. So EAB Navigate for different features related to Credit for Prior Learning, alerting advisors, and other functionality that EAB provides for supporting our adult learners. And then having the pathways training. So working with advisors that work primarily with students in the healthcare fields and talk about trainings for Credit for Prior Learning on looking at labor market information, things of that nature. So what we're going to talk about today is how we actually have made some pretty interesting changes within the system with the colleges that are participating in this grant. And our goal, as I mentioned, is to scale this up. So what we did in Virginia is really look at our healthcare programs, because we specifically chose healthcare because we did a research study and looked at the data based on our SNAP recipients within our workforce programs. So what we actually found was that our SNAP recipients are largely Black women in healthcare, and they were less likely to actually earn their credential. And so we wanted to examine why and how we can actually help the students, the Black women in healthcare, to earn their credentials and look at those barriers that were causing them to stop out and not earn their credential after completing the coursework. So again, you can see here that healthcare is actually our largest academic discipline within our workforce programs. And then you can see the other disciplines from there. So that is, again, why we chose healthcare, because it is the largest short-term credential industry that we are actually serving within the Commonwealth of Virginia. And then you can see here some of the data and looking at the completion rate and the credential rate. So again, we saw that there was a disparity between our Black women in healthcare completing the coursework and then completing and earning their credential. So with that, we really wanted to look at credit for prior learning and what we are doing across the state for our short-term credentials. So we really did the CPL in 3 parts. Step 1A was the faculty convening. So we brought in the faculty from the various different colleges to look at the short-term credentials, and we did a training on the crosswalks, the evaluation, and just generally giving them an understanding of what credit for prior learning is and dispelling some of those myths that maybe the faculty had. Then the second part of the first area was really looking at the credentials and trying to see where we could actually find alignment and what the type of credit for prior learning and the equivalencies could be across the state within the related academic areas on the degree side. The second step that we really kind of helped us to shape where we are now is we actually found that when we were looking and with the faculty, when we were looking at the credentials, is that there were varied different types of outcomes. So trying to actually have a standardized curriculum from different credential issuers actually made it very hard for us to figure out what the standardization should be. And we really found that that was kind of hard for us because we wanted to see what actually makes the most sense for our students. We ultimately decided that we needed to continue doing the training with advisors on credit for prior learning. And we actually also made it mandatory when colleges are applying for one of their programs to be fast forward eligible, that they needed to give us an academic equivalency. So we wanted to have that information there. And then the final step is that all of this information with the CPL, while we weren't able to come to consensus, the colleges did have equivalencies. So we are actually promoting the information on our portal, Credits to Careers. So we'll make sure that everybody has a link to our portal if you would like to take a look at everything that we actually award credit for prior learning for. So as I mentioned, we pulled the faculty together and we were looking at what the credentials are being offered across the state and who, in addition to the colleges that are participating in the grant, and all the other institutions, the other 20 institutions within Virginia, who is awarding credit and how many credits are they awarding. So we really did a lot of fact finding before we actually went to the colleges and started working with the faculty on the credit for prior learning piece. So that background information was really, really crucial when we were talking about what is actually currently happening. What we ultimately did was try to get the colleges and the faculty to look at the various different ways that credentials could actually prepare students. So kudos to my colleague, Philmika, that actually created this, but the goal was so that faculty could see that credentials could lead in a variety of different ways. We didn't want the faculty to only think that credentials could only lead to one specific program. So we were trying to give a lot of opportunity for there to be stackable credentials, but also bundling. What would make sense for the students? So we showed this so that they could see that there's lots of ways that students could weave in and out of their credential to an academic program. We actually learned a lot from the JFF grant because they did surveys and focus groups with adult learners, and they actually found that there were no conversations about credit for prior learning. They said 57% of respondents reported there were no conversations. More than 60% of women said that there were no conversations about credit for prior learning. And so what we really wanted to do was flip this, because we know that that piece, especially if the students are coming directly from one of our workforce programs, we want those conversations to be happening. So we really want to make sure that advisors are aware that credit for prior learning could be a huge part of a student's journey, and we want those conversations to be happening at the very beginning. But again, EAB Navigate is going to be a big crucial part of that. This is, again, information from the JFF ATD grant. So 85% of advisors reported that the institution does have a process, but 45% of advisors reported that they rarely or never review adult learners' past work experiences. So it's not just about the credential, but maybe there's an opportunity for a student to complete a portfolio and earn additional credit that could be applied. So I'm not going to read all of those data points in there, but it was really, really helpful for us to think what we could do training-wise that would better support advisors on talking to adult learners about credit for prior learning. This is just a snapshot of our portal, Credits to Careers. So the example you see here is the Applied Associates in Respiratory Therapy Technology at Central Virginia, and 11 credits from the credential that the student earns through their short-term credential is actually able to be applied directly to that program. So it shows how many credits are applied and then how many would be remaining. And again, we're happy to share that link with you. So this is where we actually are working on the colleges in the portal to actually show where there is the ability for credit for prior learning. And this is, again, just a snapshot, but our goal is that there will be a card on here as well that will say credit for prior learning is available, short-term credentials lead in this pathway. So we're really trying to increase that pathway visibility as well. So again, I've been really focusing on our short-term credentials and our fast forward programs because that really is a great opportunity for our colleges. And while we started specifically with healthcare, our next area that we've really been growing on our credit for prior learning piece is our skilled trades. So we're taking the short-term credentials, seeing how we could actually evaluate them, and the colleges are working together to see how, if there is a possibility for there to be consistency, then obviously the academic credit for the student once they've completed that credential, and then they'll earn their degree. And we know based on the Kale research that will save them time and money. And for the institution, on average, it helps them to actually have those students enroll in, as we all know, 17 more credits at the institution on the academic side. So we're really trying to enhance the CPL offerings from our short-term credentials. And so now I'm actually going to hand it over to Crystal, and she's going to talk about how we've kind of integrated the CPL process into EAB Navigate and supporting our students.
Great. Thanks so much, Emily. So now I would like to just walk us through how we are wanting to incorporate technology into our project. So we're using the tool EAB Navigate. If you're not familiar with that, EAB is a CRM tool that is known for facilitating collaborative, holistic support for students throughout the student life cycle. It's known for being able to tailor unique workflows towards different types of users, for example, students, advisors, administrators, faculty, and so on. So our hope was to be able to use EAB to help us be able to expand and to track and follow the journey of our workforce students who are transitioning into our stackable credentials. Just a little bit of background into how we're looking at this. We chose to use the People, Processes, Technology framework, which essentially is forcing us to take a deep dive look at who's involved here. So in terms of this project, we want to really understand the journey of an adult learner with CPL, as well as our staff, our advisors and coaches who have to partner and work with them. We also then want to understand our processes, what's currently happening at our 3 partnering institutions who are participating in this project. Does everybody understand what their processes are with CPL? And then the ultimate goal is to be able to bring in technology to make for efficient and effective use of the tool. A couple of just kind of learning points we've learned over this last year and a half is widely the student and staff or advisor experience with CPL has been inconsistent across the system at each of our partnering institutions. There's also been some inconsistent awareness as well as a bit of ambiguity about processes when it comes to non-credit data showing in the platform. Just as background, mostly it was credit information. So students who are taking academic courses for credit is what was shown in Navigate, not our workforce non-credit information. So now that we have that opportunity, it's a good opportunity to get people on the same page about what that looks like and what that means. And in the VCCS, we are expected to use Navigate for case management for a couple of different initiatives that are system-wide. So all of this to say, it created a great opportunity to take a deeper look into how we're using our technology in this way. Overall, if you're a big picture thinker, what we are attempting to do with this module or this part of the goal is to figure out, are we being effective? Are we being efficient when it comes to using Navigate, since this is one of the platforms that we use at all 23 community colleges? And are we using it in the right way to benefit our adult learners who might have some previous training experience? On a technical standpoint, is what information do we need to add into Navigate? Is there information that's already there that we need to change? And most importantly, what do we all need to understand, no matter what our role is in Navigate as it relates to CPL? Each of our partnering institutions, as well as the system office, crafted some specific objectives and strategies that we wanted to work towards to meet this Navigate or technology goal. At the system office level, we talked about 4 different arenas: expansion, and I created 2 specific objectives to support that. 1, we want to bring CPL indicators into Navigate. I'll share what that means on an upcoming slide. 2, we wanted to be able to leverage Navigate to create academic plans for those stackable credentials from workforce to credit, and ultimately reducing time from credential to degree attainment. Tracking, we want to understand the journey, what happens from the time that a student completes that workforce credential until the time that they complete that certificate or degree. Standardization, which can be daunting when we're talking about standardizing things for 23 colleges who have the autonomy to use this system in their own way. However, we felt it very important to come up with some best practices, some consistent technology practices that all of our colleges can use, and we want to make it scalable. In this project that our team is working on, we're talking about healthcare programs and workforce credentials, but we know that there are other programs that we want to be able to use this system for or this process for. And we know that we want all of our colleges outside of just our 3 pilot colleges to be able to have the same benefit. And finally is evaluation. As I mentioned before, case management is important. That's one of our system-wide initiatives in which we use Navigate. So we want to be able to track what's happening with those interactions that advisors and coaches are having with students. And we want to also be able to use the platform to gauge the persistence and success rates of our adult learners with CPL. Just to dig in and give you a little bit more insight about those objectives. When we're talking about CPL indicators, 3 specific data areas we're looking at in Navigate. One is we want staff to feel confident that they can identify students who are enrolled in those fast forward credentials and classes. Again, that's not the only arena that can lead to CPL, just what we're focusing on in this project for right now. 2, we want staff to feel comfortable identifying students who've completed a credential. And 3, being able to identify students who've been awarded some CPL. So we have successfully been able to figure out how to bring that into Navigate. We use a feature called categories, which is essentially an identifier that's added to a student's profile in Navigate that comes in from information imported over from SIS, or our student information system.
Crystal, are we allowed to ask questions at this time, or would you prefer holding off the questions till the end? I have one that came through so far when you were speaking.
It's okay, yeah, sure. I think you went on mute. So, yeah.
So sorry.
That's okay.
Thank you for letting me know. I have a
Yes.
question from Christiane, our participant in our chat room, and she asked, did you find CPL that applied to nursing AAS degrees?
Yeah, I think that question might go to Emily or Mika, but I'm pretty sure we have found some there. Can I switch that question to either one of you?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. That was when Emily was running her slides. I apologize.
Oh, okay. Nope, that's okay. I think the answer is yes, we have found that. And if Emily wants to elaborate on that, you're more than welcome to at the end. Thank you.
She said you got it. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
No problem. No problem at all. Okay. There we go. All right. Second, we looked at leveraging Navigate to create academic plans. So I think it goes without saying that students who have an academic plan are more likely to persist, more likely to complete. The good news is Navigate does have an academic planning feature. All 23 of our colleges have access to that. What we did is create a strategy roadmap that will help our colleges have some quick tips, quick strategies for baseline utilization, which is just getting in there and getting familiar with how to use the tool to plan out classes. We created some customized templates to help kind of create this pathway for students who might have completed a credential and want to continue their studies on the academic side. For example, one of our pilot institutions has a billing and coding credential program. We created an academic plan template that will show a student who has completed that billing and coding credential what their life would look like if they wanted to continue and pursue our Associate of Applied Science degree in Health Information Management. We also created some strategies for strategic utilization, which is taking it to the next level. So not only are we using the academic planner to plan out courses, we're now going to bring in focused intervention, such as using the platform to find students who haven't completed an academic plan and encourage them to make an appointment with an advisor so that they can understand what courses are coming next for them. And lastly, we really wanted to take a deep dive look at the transition. So we based this on the lost momentum framework, which I think most people are familiar with. There's a journey that students are going through from the time that they decide that they're interested in pursuing a program all the way up until the time that they complete. And it's interesting in this perspective, our students who are completing these workforce credentials and moving into stackable programs are kind of completing this cycle twice. So we really looked at different ways to use Navigate to, first of all, just understand what is happening throughout both of these journeys. Where are the best practices? Where are the measures of success when it comes to getting folks through this cycle, but then also identifying the loss points so that we can then incorporate technology to try to mitigate some of those. I'll just give a couple of quick examples here of some of the things that we're planning on doing with Navigate. When students are in this interest to application phase or the connection phase, we've crafted some templates to be able to send out automated messages to students based on those categories I mentioned to you. So students who've completed a credential or students who've completed a fast forward course. As soon as they meet that criteria, we can send them a message saying, hey, congratulations, you finished your credential. These are some opportunities that are available for you if you want to continue and earn a degree or a certificate. For students who are in this enrollment phase. Tons of different things, but for sake of time, just 2 examples of what we can do here. An automated campaign to students who've completed a credential. Let's use that example of billing and coding credential. They went ahead, they decided to apply, enroll in the Associate of Applied Science degree. They're in some classes, we can send them a message saying, hey, good job, you've enrolled. This is what you should do next so that you can make sure that you stay in your classes and make sure that you're successful. We could also run a list of students who haven't enrolled. We know that they've completed that credential. We know that they perhaps have expressed interest in continuing, but they haven't completed an academic plan. So that might indicate to us that they don't know what their next steps are. So we can send them an automated link saying, hey, here's a staff member or here's a team who can meet with you by appointment and let you know what to do. As students are progressing, we can send out progress report campaigns, which loops in faculty. They have the opportunity to let us know how students are doing in class and if there might need to be some intervention like tutoring or a connection with an off-campus resource. Students may also be able to use what's called hand raise. They can raise their hand and navigate and let someone know, hey, I need help in a respective area. Those are all configured by institutions individually, so they have the autonomy to decide what those hand raise reasons are and what the next steps would be. And finally, with completion, we can send out automated messages to students once they're nearing completion of their degree, or if they've already completed their degree, to give them some, hey, here's what's happened, but here's what's happening next. We know that you've graduated or you're about to graduate, but we're not going to leave you alone. We can connect you to Forge, which is one of our newer partnerships with EAB. And this allows students to complete job simulations to learn a little bit more about corporations and career opportunities. We've got a variety of different ways of tracking those categories I mentioned to you, appointment summaries where staff can record what took place during those interventions with students, reporting and analytics, tons of different things, but we just wanted to give you a high level overview of how we are hoping to use technology to make things a little bit easier for our staff. So I'll pause there and turn that over to Famika and get to some of the questions.
Thank you so much, Crystal. All right, thank you. So I'm really excited to share with you guys the background and the rationale of this project as we worked with all 3 community colleges. The extensive healthcare offerings at Virginia Community College Systems. Our system comprises of 23 community colleges across the state of Virginia. With this particular program, of course, we targeted and we worked closely with 3 of our community colleges. All of our community colleges offer a variety of healthcare programs, our fast forward related programs, or our short-term credential programs. With these programs, individuals enter these programs with the intention of enrolling into a course that allots anywhere from 8 to 16 weeks. And upon completion of that course, they're eligible to sit for the national exam to be awarded a credential upon passing. Additionally, of course, we offer a variety of academic healthcare programs ranging from career study certificates, and 2-year associate's degrees. Those programs range from registered nursing programs, licensed practical nursing program, diagnostic medical sonography programs, our oral health, dental hygienist, and dental assistant programs, and many, many more. Upon taking a deep dive of these programs, we took a deep dive and looked at these programs of what could we do collectively in working with these 3 colleges and supporting them to ensure that students are able and have the knowledge to work beyond the entry-level healthcare credential. So with that, we really want to take a deep dive in looking at increasing the number of healthcare professionals based on data within our community college system that continue their education post a healthcare credential. So with that, students have an understanding of what credit for prior learning was upon beginning that particular program and what that looked like at the 3 community colleges included in this. Students have an understanding of credits their credential would allot them, understanding their utilization of EAB Navigate, and understanding how those conversations started within our admissions or whether it be our workforce division. Students have an understanding of healthcare programs at their particular school. All of our community colleges offer healthcare programs. As I shared before, with our fast forward programs, those are short-term programs. So working and talking to the colleges to hear how they advertise these programs. How do students know which program is available or what will be coming up in the next 3 to 6 months? And students have an understanding of career pathways available to them within Virginia community college systems. So hearing from the admissions and our academic advisors and our workforce credential staff members, what does that conversation look like and where is it taking place within the student's educational career at a Virginia community college system campus? Our overall objective and strategies with this included training all workforce career coaches, chief academic officers, chief workforce officers, and academic officers. In terms of our chief academic officers, chief workforce officers, they comprise leadership roles. Our workforce career coaches, our academic advisors, and some of our community colleges house navigators, but those are the individuals that are on the ground and really doing all the work. So meeting with each of these community colleges, including all the individuals that's really involved, and having a discussion. We really wanted to stress in with this that this was not the systems office enforcing changes, but we really wanted to take a deep dive, review what they were always doing, having a roundtable discussion, and discuss what could we do to enhance where there are gaps. Additionally, that included also providing support also. And with that support varied at individual colleges. With some of our community colleges, that support included providing academic advisors with information about what healthcare career job descriptions consisted of. Also increasing understanding of all healthcare pathways and careers within the Virginia community college systems, assuring that all involved individuals understood credits to careers. Healthcare job descriptions, also assuring that all the community colleges involved understood what other healthcare fast forward and academic programs were being offered at other community colleges. Additionally, taking a deep dive and looking at what can a BCCS healthcare pathway really look like for a community college student. As we took a deep dive and looked at this, really wanting to assure that our academic advisors and our workforce staff members, they had a clear understanding that when talking to students, they were able to successfully guide that student beyond the lowest credential. Really taking a deep dive, getting to know that student. What does that conversation look like, right? Does it take place halfway through the course, or was this something that the student needed to know beforehand? Some of our community colleges share that they have a follow-up program where students, academic advisors or workforce coaches reach out to students post completing the workforce credential to inquire with them how they're doing and if they're interested in continuing their education. Currently, our current progress included, with this program, with this particular grant, it included 3 community colleges. So that included Germanna Community College in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Our Tidewater Community College would host 2 campuses in Virginia Beach and Norfolk, Virginia, and Central Virginia Community College in Lynchburg, Virginia. We were very excited to include Piedmont Virginia Community College within this project as well, and to meet with their staff members also. Within this, it was also discovery that healthcare marketing material was definitely needed. And the material that was needed would be also helpful to the public, but also really helpful to the community colleges as new staff come on or as roles changes. So with that, we developed healthcare marketing material, which included healthcare booklets that comprised of 10 to 12 pages and allowed individuals to visually see the healthcare programs that are offered within Virginia community college systems, and what does it look like going beyond that healthcare credential. Within that, we really wanted to assure, and this was inclusive as possible, that it's available for English as second language individuals as well. So this information has been translated into Spanish as well. Taking a deep dive with this, also including QR codes that were easily accessible to individuals that takes them directly to the Fast Forward website and allows them to enter their information and select the program that they're interested in. And with that, this individual, that information would be routed to the community college where someone will reach out to that individual. Additionally, within this material also collaboration with an organization in Virginia Hospitals and Healthcare Association. So with that, also including a QR code for individuals to take a deep dive and look at a website titled On Board Virginia. So with that, individuals have an opportunity to see all of the healthcare job openings at hospitals across the state of Virginia as well. With our on-site training at Germanna, CVCC, Tidewater Community College, and Piedmont Virginia Community College. Of course, we worked with everyone, all of the workforce staff, chief academic officers, advisors, navigators, and workforce coaches. We took a deep dive of looking at the current onboarding process for community colleges. For example, what does it look like for an individual that comes in and may not really know about healthcare careers? What does that career counseling look like? For an individual that decides that an academic program may not be for them, how is that individual routed directly to a workforce staff member to assure that that individual has a clear understanding? What does wraparound services look like? For many of our students, they have various different roles, often caretakers, partners, caregivers. If a student is facing a struggle or a challenge, what systems are in place to assure that everyone that student is in contact with on that campus can easily connect them to the sources and resources they need to continue their education. Also, as we brought everyone together, taking a deep dive and looking at all the academic and workforce programs at that respective college, referencing back to my colleague, Emily Jones-Green, as we really want to assure the credit for prior learning. As the credit for prior learning is awarded, it's awarded directly into an academic program so that student can easily continue on their education and use their level of expertise in their education to help them jumpstart their academic career. Also exploring additional collaborative efforts. Our community colleges are great with collaborating with other organizations within their community to assure that their students have what they need. Additionally, our community colleges are doing great with collaborating with other community colleges across the state of Virginia to share programs. So discussing with the community colleges, what does that look like? Do students know about that upon entering? Do our high school students know that upon coming onto their campus? So this is a deep dive conversation over the last several months of really looking at collaborative efforts of what's working and what's not working and where we can fill in the gaps to assure that all of our students are well served and have all the resources that they need to fully complete their academic programs or their credential program at a community college. So our next steps, ongoing efforts, healthcare career pathways. That is an ongoing effort. In the state of Virginia, many, sometimes our high schools offer fast forward credential programs to our seniors during their senior year. So assuring that those high school seniors are aware of those programmings and continue on their education within a community college. Assuring that the public also knows about the healthcare career pathway. So sharing pathways with other community colleges within the systems, collectively discussing current onboarding processes. As we share, taking a deep dive to assure that all the individuals that are first interacting with those students upon arriving on campus, that they have a clear understanding of credit for prior learning, EAB Navigate, and all other systems on that community college. So including student accessibility, for example, do student activities need to be involved? So it's been a great conversation in terms of determining and assuring that everyone is fully educated on campus. Identifying processes to assure all students have an understanding of all healthcare programs and CPL opportunities. Our community colleges, our deans and academic officers and workforce officers are readily working on that and assuring that those programs are in alignment, and continuing working with our systems office leaders and are reviewing data to identify changes and trends of credential completions as well. Additionally, ongoing collaborate. This is a collaborative effort. Upon being a part of this program and sharing it with colleagues as I work across the state with hospital leaders and other organizations, they're really excited to hear about this and see how this moves forward. But from a macro level of identifying who else needs to be involved, stakeholders, healthcare agencies and hospitals. And a huge aspect that has come about is universal language. We've learned that the the industry and education speaks very different languages at times. So we're really excited and hoping and having these conversations with our community colleges and also with our hospitals and organizations to assure that everyone knows what's available. Our community colleges are great in terms of working closely with their clinical partners, but assuring and providing these healthcare pathway maps and also this healthcare marketing material. We're really excited and hoping that the public has one more visual to assure that your possibilities at a community college are endless. Upon obtaining your certified nursing assistant certification or credential, your possibilities at a community college, you could become a licensed practical nurse, a registered nurse, a dental hygienist, or paramedic, whatever it is that you would like. But the key is assuring that healthcare organizations understand what's available, and the public also knows what's available and knows the proper steps to enroll and complete these programs. And of course, ongoing marketing, sharing this information with current and future students. Moving forward, this will be also sharing this information with our Virginia Department of Education, Social Services, and other agencies across Virginia. And I will pass it back to my colleague, Emily.
Thank you so much, everybody. And we're trying to answer the questions as they come in as well. But one question was about CPL for healthcare and it being applied into the applied nursing program. And that is, they are able to do that. And there's a variety of ways that we look at that depending upon what the credential is. So we're trying to work again with Philmika and the faculty. So is there a way that we could bundle either a CNA or any other of the areas that would be helpful for anybody in the nursing programs that would ultimately have them have the credit applied to that program? But there are a couple different examples like that we're happy to share, and we're again also trying to build this out. So it's really exciting stuff there. Another question that came in was actually about sharing those that healthcare marketing and those pathways, Philmika. So I let them know to email us, and we can certainly share that out because, as Philmika mentioned, it's a statewide initiative. Do you want to add anything to that?
No, sure, no problem at all. I can provide my email if that'd be helpful, and anyone that would like access to those documents, please, I'd be happy to share them with you.
Great. And then there was a question also, I know Crystal answered it as well, but about the CRM piece. Do you want to add or expand on that? I know sometimes it's easier to speak it rather than type it.
Nope, I think that's okay. We have a small handful of our colleges who are using the recruitment success module. Everything's going very well. As with anything, rolling out new technology, it takes some working through it all, but so far we've seen great success. So it's going well for us.
Great, thank you. Are there any other questions that you all might have? Really, the biggest lesson that we learned is that, as Philmika said, it is truly a collaborative effort, and having the workforce side and the academic side really be intentional on what their steps are and how they're working to support students has really been imperative. But also understanding that technology really plays a great part in that, and having the advisors have the resources from EAB Navigate and using EAB to support the student's journey from workforce to an academic side is it really is huge. And those campaigns and examples that Crystal shared, it's really awesome to see how we can actually provide better service to the students by having this information and those career maps and academic maps in there. So it's really, really great stuff. And we're excited to see how we can continue to scale this beyond the healthcare realm, and just keep watching out for what Virginia is doing, because we have some exciting things on the horizon when it comes to CPL, and very excited about it.
All right. Well, thank you, ladies, so much for being here. We truly appreciate all the time and work that you've put in to put this presentation together. Also, it's amazing what you're doing over there at Virginia Community College. So we can't wait to see where this goes. But yeah, if anyone has any other questions, you can post them in the chat. If you want to go ahead and send them the questions directly as well in the communication section on the platform, you can reach out to each one of these amazing ladies and they can get back to you with any resources you need or any questions that you still have. We do ask if everyone could just take a moment at the end of the session and fill out our survey. I'm sure Crystal, Emily, and Flamika would love to hear what you thought of this session. Also, us here at Kill, we would love to hear what you thought of this session, as we really do, appreciate your feedback. We curate all of our future conferences based off of what we've done in past conferences. So we would really, really appreciate if everyone could fill out one of those surveys. And yeah, if there isn't anything else, we could go ahead and end this session. All right. Yeah, it looks like no other questions are coming through. All right. Well, I'll go ahead and end this live stream. And Crystal, Emily, and Flamika, if you can stick around a moment, and I'll be able to say goodbye to you ladies as well. All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for
Thanks,
joining us.
everyone.
Thank you so much for joining, everyone.